Okay, so in this one we're going to be doing still circles, but we're going to be doing the reverse questions. So sometimes you'll be given the area or the circumference of a circle, and you've got to sort of backtrack and work out what the radius or the diameter is. So we're going to start off with this one. So we are told what the area of a circle is. We're told it's 50.27. The first thing we need to do is work out what the radius is. Now the first thing I would always do is write down the formula to work out the area. Okay, so to work out the area of a circle, we do the radius and then we times that, we do the radius squared and then we times it by pi. Now we don't know what this is, okay, but we do know what pi is and we do know what the area is. Okay, so I'm going to write it as, I guess, a little bit like an equation. Okay, so all I've done is replace the A, which is the area, with the actual area number, which we're told in the question. So we somehow need to get R on its own, okay? So we just want to work out the radius. At the moment, we square the radius and we times it by pi. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to divide by pi. Okay, so the radius squared will be 50.27 divided by pi. Now it's really important you do that first. A lot of people will want to square root first, okay, but you can't do that. The reason why is if you square root, you'd also have to square root the pi, which you don't want to do because that's just confusing. And a lot of people don't do that properly. So definitely always divide by pi first, okay? Now the reason why I haven't put this in a calculator yet is because this is going to have lots of decimal places, okay? So I don't want to lose any accuracy. So there, from there, I'm going to do a little arrow. I just want R. Now the opposite of squaring something is square rooting. So R, I'm going to do a little square root sign here. So R is going to be the square root of 50.27 divided by pi. And you can type that all into a calculator in one go. So square root of 50.27 divided by shift and then the middle button to get you pi. 4.00 is, alright, so I'm just going to write 4.0 centimetres. Okay, so that's part A done. So part B, I've got to try and squidge in. I'll do it in a different colour to help you. So we need to now find the circumference. Now we know what the radius is because we've just worked it out, but for the circumference we actually need the diameter, so I'm going to work out that first. So the diameter is the radius times by 2, so 4.0 times by 2, which is just 8.0, or I'm just going to leave it as 8. Okay, and then we need to work out what circumference is, so the circumference is the diameter times pi. Now we know the diameter is 8, and then obviously we just times it by pi. So again, type it on a calculator. So 8 times by pi, 25.1. 25.1. That's meant to be centimetres, but I've run out of space. Okay, so it's just sort of backtracking, that's all. So just be really careful. Key thing is divide by pi first. Okay, when you're doing them, in fairness, you're going to do it with circumference as well. So yeah, always divide by pi first. Okay, right, let's do one more. Okay, so this time we're given the circumference of the circle instead, and we just need to work out the radius. So again, as I said with the other one, first thing is we need to write out what the formula is for the circumference. So the circumference is the diameter times by pi. Okay, now obviously this formula doesn't have radius in it, but it does have diameter in it. And if we work out what the diameter is, we can then work out what the radius is. So again, I'm going to replace this circumference with the actual number. So 62.83 is equal to the diameter times by pi. Okay, we just want the diameter on its own. So as I said before, we need to divide by pi. So the diameter is 62.83 divided by pi, which gives us on a calculator 62.83 divided by pi, 19.999, so that's going to round up to 20. 20.0 metres. Okay, so we've now worked out what the diameter is. We actually need the radius. So to work out the radius, we actually need to do the diameter divided by 2. So we're going to do 20 divided by 2, which is 10 metres. Okay, so it's just being careful, make sure you go through it slowly. Step 1 is always write the formula that you need. 2, replace the circumference or the area with the amount that's given in the question. Next step, divide by pi, and then do what you need to do after that. So if it's the area, you're going to have to square root to work out the radius. If you're with the circumference, it's nice and easy, you just have the answer for the diameter. Okay, so just take it step by step and you'll be absolutely fine.